Welcome to Ethereal, where we keep it real. This is going to be your July 25th updates and news around the Ethereum cryptocurrency. I make these quick, action-packed, short formatted videos just to keep you updated, and you don't have to waste time watching long videos just to get the quick news around Ethereum. With that being said, let's jump right into the first piece of news today. Looks like Ethereum spot ETFs pull in nearly 10 billion in recent inflows. Between July 7th and July 24th, US listed Ethereum spot ETFs recorded approximately 9.9 billion inflows, led by strong demand from funds that are from BlackRock and Fidelity, other large institutions. What this means is that massive ETF inflows reflect rising institutional and retail confidence in Ethereum as a regulated, accessible exposure to the asset. The sort of impact this has, as we've discussed before, is this robust demand supports Ethereum's price stability, and it could even tighten available liquidity, potentially driving long-term upward momentum. And that's exactly the sort of thing we're looking for when we're bullish on Ethereum. Now, we've talked about ETFs a lot on this channel, and sometimes it might be hard to understand why they're so important. Again, if they do approve staking on ETFs, then it's only going to pull in more old money, so to say, so that they could earn a yield on their investments, and that's only going to be even more bullish when it comes to Ethereum. So jumping into the next story for today, US Senate draft crypto regulation recognizes ETH as a utility asset. This is huge, guys. The US Senate released a streamlined draft of its crypto market structure bill, aligning with the House's Clarity Act in treating assets like Ethereum as functional utility tokens, not securities. What this means is that the framework aims to ease regulatory uncertainty by allowing Ether to operate outside SEC securities scrutiny, subject to clear classification standards. The sort of impact this is going to have is such regularity, clarity, enhances Ethereum's legal standing, encourages broader adoption and integration into financial products and institutional treasury use. This is exactly the sort of direction we want to go in. About a week or two ago, we covered on this channel the most important 3 bills that were going to go through Crypto Week last week. Most of them passed with flying colors. The Genius Act actually got signed in, so that's already law. However, the one we just talked about, the Clarity Act, actually got approved by Congress. It got approved by a House, and it got sent to the Senate side. And this is what we're covering today, is that the Senate's making some updates to the draft. And although we were talking about potentially having ETH marked as a commodity, even as long as it's not a security where the SEC has jurisdiction over it, utility asset is just as good, if not better, as sort of outcome we're looking for. So this is great news, and I'm going to keep you posted as this develops further. Last piece of important news today around Ethereum. Ethereum's resilient as market dips, ETF inflows continue. So despite the broader crypto market losses, like Bitcoin being down about 2 to 3%, Ethereum actually rose 1.9% to 3621. We're obviously going to do some technical analysis towards the end of the video, but its strong performance coincided with its 15th consecutive day of ETF inflows. What this means is that Ethereum is showing strength relative to the broader market, indicating investor preference for ETH amid risk-off sentiment. That's really important. When risk goes on, well, how are people reacting? And the sort of impact this has is persistent ETF inflows and resilience in price during market downturns suggest robust structural support and confidence in Ethereum's long-term outlook, and that's sort of beautiful as far as what we're looking for. So as always, let's finish out this episode with a quick technical analysis guide. This might look a little choppy. We're on the 1-hour chart for Ethereum. The one thing I want to point out here is how well this 200-day moving average has been respected as it came down to test these lower levels after we had a really good run. If you're really worried about the price action the past week or so, let's go out to the 4-hour. If that doesn't convince you of how this 78% Fibonacci replacement level is actually showing really good support levels now, let's look at the daily chart. Are you convinced yet? I mean, the daily chart is showing us exactly what we called on this channel in my previous video, is do not be surprised if the price action cools off. Actually, we want it to cool off. We want healthy price action, and this is the sort of thing we want to see. We don't want to see just straight upwards, because that suggests some sort of, unsecured movement, and so to say, and not sustainable movement, if you will. And this sort of price action is really healthy. Of course, people are going to take some profits. If somebody were playing Ethereum back from this 1300 level that wasn't too long ago, we're looking at only about 3 months ago, they would be insane not to take some profits here and maybe get back in as the price action cools off a bit and comes back down. So what we're looking for going into this weekend and into next week is potentially even slightly more cooling off. As you can see, it's already bounced off on the 25th today and it's doing a really good recovery. We might have some sideways action here, as you've seen here on the 4-hour chart, but we're doing a really good job of staying within this new field and section, if you will, and not necessarily losing a lot of ground from what we've gained in the past. Again, what I'm expecting to see is some more sideways action, maybe even potentially slightly dipping below this 78% retracement level. And then as we get more bullish news and bigger announcements and going into next week's, we're going to have a lot of big companies announcing earnings and whatnot. So, some attention is definitely going to shift away from the crypto markets, because coming towards the end of this month and early next month, we're going to have to figure out what tariffs look like and whatnot. But after all that's said and done, once we go ahead and actually move into a more concentrated market, looking at these Ethereum and cryptocurrency broader levels, then we can expect some more movement upwards. And again, based on some of what the more established figures in this field are saying, and like I stated in my previous couple videos, if you had a chance to watch those, if we do break above this 4,000 level, and I should stop saying if, it's more like when we do break above this 4,000 level, Ethereum is really going to be in price discovery mode. It hasn't been above 4,000 since the election hype, when we hit that back around like November time here. And we're going to come in pretty hard and actually test this. And if we do break above it immediately, we're going to be in a pretty strong price discovery mode, and we might just take over actual all-time highs pretty quickly. From then on, it's only excitement. I've seen a lot of predictions as far as where Ethereum is going to go in this cycle. I've heard 7K, 8K, 10K. Some people are saying 15 to 20K. I really don't want to make any predictions, because that's not really what I do here. I want to keep it realistic, just like I make sure to cover any bullish and bearish news, so I'm not just sitting here glazing Ethereum for you guys. This channel is supposed to keep it real, like it's in the name, so I don't want to make any predictions. I am bullish, obviously, based on everything we've covered the past few weeks, and that's sort of my outlook as far as price action in the short run. But when we do actually break above this 4K level, that's when we should expect some price discovery and exciting movement. So that's it for this episode, the 25th. Make sure you tune in to catch future videos. I may do a live stream again this weekend if the price action actually warrants for it. Other than that, I appreciate you taking the time to tune in. Ethereal, keep it real.